Today we're exploring 250 years of America, the story of an idea that began in 1776 and continues to be tested and lived by 330 million people today. It all started with a single document signed by 56 men, establishing the then radical notion that government derives its power from the people. To understand 1776, we have to look at the cost of an empire. Following the French and Indian War in 1763, Great Britain was saddled with massive debt, leading to the colonial taxation that sparked the rebellion. From the Stamp Act to the Boston Tea Party, the tension built until the shot heard round the world was fired at Lexington and Concord in 1775. Winning the war was only half the battle, the next step was forging the Republic. We moved from the struggle of Valley Forge to the diplomatic success of the Treaty of Paris. By 1787, the Constitutional Convention drafted our current framework of checks and balances, eventually adding the Bill of Rights in 1791 to guarantee fundamental freedoms like speech and religion. The 19th century was driven by the expansion engine. Through stages of acquisition, like the Louisiana Purchase, and massive infrastructure projects like the Erie Canal and the telegraph, the nation grew at a breakneck pace. However, this growth also accelerated the path to civil war as the North industrialized and the Southern economy remained tied to slavery. By 1860, we were a house divided. The Civil War remains the deadliest conflict in American history, with up to 750,000 deaths. It was during this tragedy that Abraham Lincoln issued the Emancipation Proclamation and at Gettysburg, redefined the war as a struggle to ensure that government of the people would not perish from the earth. The post-war era of Reconstruction set a new baseline for the country. The 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments abolished slavery, granted citizenship, and secured voting rights for black men. While these were monumental achievements, they were met with severe backlash and discriminatory laws that would shape American life for the next century. As we moved into the Gilded Age, the country underwent a massive physical and demographic shift. The Transcontinental Railroad connected the coasts. Industrial titans like Carnegie and Rockefeller generated explosive wealth, and millions of immigrants arrived at Ellis Island seeking the American dream. This era also saw incredible innovation sparks. In just a few decades, we saw the patenting of the telephone, the development of the practical light bulb, and the first powered flight by the Wright brothers. These inventions didn't just change technology, they changed how humans related to time and distance. The first half of the 20th century was a period of momentum and crisis in 1908 to 1945. We saw the democratization of the car and women's suffrage, but also the Great Depression and the horrors of World War II. By 1945, the United States emerged from these trials as a global superpower. If we pause to look at these crucibles of the Republic, we see a pattern. Whether it was the Revolutionary War or the Cold War, each crisis served as a turning point that redefined the idea of America, expanding the influence of democracy and testing its endurance. In the post-war era, the Cold War and the space race defined our global standing. While we faced geopolitical tensions in Korea and Vietnam, we also looked toward the stars, fulfilling the national goal of walking on the moon in 1969. Simultaneously, the fight for civil rights was transforming the nation from within. From Rosa Parks' arrest in 1955 to Martin Luther King Jr.'s I Have a Dream speech, this movement led to the landmark Civil Rights and Voting Rights Acts, which aimed to remove systemic barriers for Black Americans. This visual represents the ongoing process of expanding We the People. The definition of American has never been static. The trajectory of our republic is defined by this continual, often hard-fought expansion of who is actually included in that opening phrase of the Constitution. Entering the 1990s, we hit the digital era at a new set of global shocks. The launch of the World Wide Web transformed everything, but the era was also defined by the tragedy of 9/11, the subsequent wars in the Middle East, and the 2008 financial crisis. Our recent history is what I call a modern metamorphosis. We've seen the first African American president, the unprecedented disruption of a global pandemic, and a push toward a next frontier involving AI, renewable energy, and a return to the moon through the Artemis program. To see how far we've come, look at the 250-year pulse. We've gone from 13 colonies to 50 states, from 2.5 million people to over 330 million, and from communication that took weeks by ship, to instant global data transfers. It is a transformation the founding generation could scarcely have imagined. Ultimately, the American story continues. Despite revolutions, civil wars, and social upheavals, the experiment survives. 250 years is a long time for any nation, but this story is still being written by the 330 million people living it right now. If you enjoyed this video, consider giving it a like and subscribe if you are new.